What's up, everyone? Zach Rieger here. Second half of the MLB season starts tomorrow, Thursday, with one game. I'm filming this Wednesday night. It may get published tomorrow on Thursday. That's okay. It really starts on Friday when all the teams get going again. And so I wanted to do a quick video, a little preview, if you want to call it, of the second half of the season. I'm going to point out some stories to watch, kind of things to keep an eye on, and also just give some bets that I think have some value here for the second half. I've got some team futures right now where I'm seeing some value. I have some players that I want to bet on season long, or I guess half a season long at this point. So let's just get into it with some of these stories. The big one, of course, is the trade deadline, August 3rd. Who will get dealt? I really don't know how many big names will go. Skubal, of course, is the big name that everyone's throwing around. But the AL is so wide open. They're only 3.5 games back from the wild card. I really don't know why or if they will deal their Cy Young pitcher. Staying in that division, Joe Ryan's another name. That one would really surprise me if Joe Ryan goes. The Twins need some help. They could definitely get a haul from a pitcher like Joe Ryan. But same thing with the Tigers. They're actually ahead. They're tied with the Mariners for the last spot in the AL wildcard. They're just 3 games back from the Central. Byron Buxton, kind of the same thing, but he's their best hitter. Is he going to go? We're really going to learn about the Twins, I think, in these next few weeks, whether they stay the course or if they start selling some of these big names. Jeremy Pena is another name I'm seeing. He's interesting. Astros have been a little sluggish. The AL West has just been brutal this season. The Yankees, third team that's always willing to buy. I could see that fit. Mason Miller is an interesting one I'm seeing. He's been unbelievable, and I love the Padres. I love their bullpen. They have 0 offense, so kind of similar. They're not too bad looking at the standings. They're 48-48. 3.5 back from the wild card. The NL is a little bit tougher than the AL. The AL is wide open, as we were just talking about the Tigers, who are 44-52, but still just 3.5 games back. And then you've got the Padres, who are 3.5 games back at 48-48. Another one, I kind of mentioned it earlier, that I'm just intrigued to kind of watch how it plays out. And that's what's going on with the AL East one and the AL wild card. These teams are just not that good, and they should be dead. They should have 0 postseason hopes, really, with some of these records. But there they are with how open it is. The Yankees have had some horrible stretches. They're the first wild card right now at 54-42. The Red Sox are just buyers now. Boston was dead months ago, and now they're just a half game back from the wild card. The Rays, they're the Rays. They can't keep getting away with this. They're up 3 games in the division over the Yankees, and they just have the number 2 overall pick in the MLB draft. Tampa is a team that I like a lot that I will be talking about later in this video once we get to some bets to make. Then the Blue Jays were just in the World Series. What happened to the young core in Baltimore? It's just crazy how bad the AL is because of how those 2 teams have looked. But they're just 2 games and 2.5 games back from the wild card. So it's still very much alive, weirdly. And then staying in the AL. How about the Chicago White Sox? Sitting at 50-45, tied atop their division. They just got Murakami back for the last series before the break. I knew they would be fun this year, kind of similar to the Cardinals. Thought they could be fun, but I had no idea that the White Sox would have this record at the break. They've overperformed. It's been great to watch. Can they keep it going? I'm rooting for them because they've just been so bad for so long. Then what about the Marlins, another team? Can they make the postseason? They've been a bit of a surprise, and I'll also talk about them later. But they're in the last wild card spot. They've been great at home. Can they make their first postseason since 2023? And that would be just their 5th time reaching the postseason, which is just absolutely crazy. It's a stat I always know, but I always forget about it. Then I see it again, and I'm like, how? But that's the Miami Marlins. So now I want to look at some of these players' futures that I was looking at. And I talked about the White Sox. Munetaka Murakami. You can bet him over 38.5 home runs this season at -115. I like that. He's at 20, and he missed over a month. Yes, the first half of the season was magical, but there's no reason for him to not be able to hit 19 more here before the season ends. I love Murakami. I love betting him. He respects coin. But his home run odds are starting to fall a little bit as he has not stopped hitting bombs. So this is a way that even if I'm not betting him every day with my home run bets, if he goes, or even worse, if he goes the day after I bet him, which is something that happens all the time when you bet home runs, we'll still be solid. We'll still be happy celebrating. And we are all in on the Southside Samurai, Munetaka Murakami, to hit 39 home runs this season. And another one, a guy I've been betting on a lot with strikeouts, as you guys know, Chase Burns, to hit 200 plus strikeouts is at plus 190. I love getting plus money for this. I think he can get to 200. This is another fun season or half season long bet that we can just enjoy all of his starts. He's got a 10.4 K per 9. He's one of those guys that's way better on the road too, with an 11.9 K per 9 away from home. His first scheduled start is on the road against Seattle, who is the 9th highest strikeout rate this season, so that's a great matchup. He has to average a little over 6 Ks per start to get to 200 based off what we're projecting him to start in the second half. And he's averaging 6.6 strikeouts done per game. He's got plenty of plus matchups in the second half, him and the Reds do, with the Pirates and the A's, who are both top 10 in strikeout rate as well. He pretty much just has to keep doing what he's been doing, and he will be fine. I think Burns can get to 200 plus strikeouts. And then looking at some team futures here. The Atlanta Braves are minus 135 to win the East. I think the Braves can go far, and to me, they seem like the biggest threat to the Dodgers in the NL. They can also be buyers here at the deadline, get a couple more arms. They have the lineup. They have the playoff experience to make some noise. They're minus 1,400 right now to make the playoffs, so they're a good team. We know they will get there. It's just, can they hold off the Phillies, the Marlins, the Mets? I think they can. I also think they're worth a flyer at 6-1 to win the NL. The Dodgers are scary, and that's why the odds are the way they are. But we could get a nice hedge opportunity if we get there. But I like this Braves team a lot, especially since they can continue to add. And then the Rays, I mentioned, they just keep finding ways to win. They've done it again. I don't think they were slowing down. With Junior Caminero, Jonathan Aranda, Yadi Diaz, their lineup is great. They're minus 3,000 to make the playoffs. I don't think that's any question. They're minus 130 to win the East, which is fine, but I really like them to win the AL at plus 475. Tampa doesn't have to worry about the Dodgers, and they can make a run in the postseason. Their live win total right now is at 90.5. I really like this team. I like how gritty they are, and they just find ways to win. They can hold off the Yankees. Who knows when Aaron Judge is coming back? And no one else in the AL really concerns me too much. It's a lot of middle-of-the-pack teams that are kind of overperforming. So at plus 475 to win the AL, I like that one there for Tampa. And then my last team future that I'm eyeing here before the second half starts, the Miami Marlins. Miami is plus 200 to make the playoffs, and I like that. They've been tremendous at home, which I mentioned earlier. They're 31-20. They only trail the Dodgers in terms of the home record in the National League. They've got plenty of home series here in the second half, so we don't have to worry about their lineup has kind of been a surprise. We knew about the lefty power with Owen Casey, Kyle Stowers, but Otto Lopez is batting .334. Heriberto Hernandez leads the team with home runs with 13. They've been great as righties, kind of balancing this lineup, which is very good for them. Their pitching staff, I really like Max Meyer. I bet him a ton of strikeout props. He's been great. Yuri Perez almost had that perfect game. Should have. But that is the problem. That's why they're plus 200s, because the Marlins, and not the best organization, but Yuri Perez has been great. Sandy Alcantara is there. He's not the same guy he was a few years ago, but he's still been more than serviceable. He's getting the job done, and their bullpen has also been pretty impressive with a 3.69 ERA. So I do like the Marlins, the Rays, and the Braves to make some noise here in the second half and into the postseason. Then, of course, love Munetaka Murakami, love Chase Burns, two guys I've been betting a lot on in the first half. Now, I'll still probably bet them in some of their individual games when I like the matchups, but we can just kind of coast and watch them all season long. It's going to be a fun second half. It really is. With this trade deadline, it's going to be interesting. A lot of big names floating around. Once again, don't know how many will actually get dealt, but definitely something to keep an eye on. And this AL race with the wild card is going to be very interesting, with a lot of teams that in most other years might not make the postseason, but hey, all you got to do is make it to the dance. So some teams will have that shot. Hopefully one is the White Sox. That would be fun to see them in the postseason. So we made it to the second half of the season. Thank you very much for watching. Let's have a great time. I'll be back with all my daily picks videos. You don't have to worry about that. You can follow me on Twitter at ZachRieger18. And let's have a great second half and watch some great baseball down the stretch.